What's up, everyone? The Coyled Cobra is back for 2021, and the first review of the new year is going to be on the Overwatch Precision Trigger Kit for the Walther Q5 Match Steel Frame, and comparing it to Walther's own Dynamic Performance Trigger Kit. I've been getting a lot of questions on Instagram and YouTube regarding my Walther Q5 Match steel frames. So yes, I have two Walther Q5 Match steel frames. One is set up for carry optics with my brass Cobra lock grips. The other one is set up for limited minor with my Taylor Freelance brass magwell and my G10 Cobra lock grips. This one has the Overwatch Precision Trigger Kit, and my carry optics one has the Dynamic Performance Trigger Kit. And before we begin, can you please take the time to hit that little red button right there to like and subscribe, as I have plenty of Walther do-it-yourself content, and it's also 2021, so I want to get my subscribers up to over 10,000 this year. All right, I just got the Overwatch Precision Trigger Kit for the Walther PPQ Q5 Match steel frame. I did get the trigger shoe in blue and the safety in gold to match my Cobra Commander themed PPQ Q5 Match steel frame. I do have cool lock grips, the Cobra insignia, and the brass magwell from Taylor Freelance. So the color combination on this Overwatch Precision Trigger Kit should be pretty cool. Cobra! Okay, so before I put this in, let's actually look at what the factory trigger looks like. Gun is safe. Let's see what that take up looks like there. And that's the reset. One more time. That's the reset. All right, so let's take a look at what the Overwatch Precision Trigger reset looks like. So this is take up, and this is the reset right there. Much better than the factory trigger. And I like how the trigger is super duper flat. It's actually very, very perpendicular to the frame. All right, so let's look at the reset on the Dynamic Performance Trigger. And I already did a review on this, but I like how perpendicular this trigger is. I actually think that I like the trigger feel a little bit better than the Overwatch Precision Trigger Kit in terms of the break and the reset. But the one thing I do like better on the Overwatch Precision Trigger Kit is I actually like the trigger shoe, and I like the feeling of the actual trigger itself. It's a little bit wider. So the face of the trigger here is actually a little bit more comfortable for the finger position there. And it breaks a little bit further back. You can actually see that it's actually right over my knuckle when it breaks there. Whereas on the Walther Dynamic Performance Trigger, it actually breaks a little bit further forward. So it breaks probably when it's perpendicular on the Walther trigger, and it breaks a little bit further back on the Overwatch Precision Trigger. You can see that right there, it breaks right there versus this. I mean, you can see it's a little bit further forward on my knuckle. So the one thing I don't like on the Walther Dynamic Performance Trigger is I don't like the trigger safety. It actually seats too far forward. I think that's actually the one thing that on the stock trigger and this trigger I don't like, is because the trigger seats a little bit farther forward. The trigger safety also seats forward, so if you don't have your finger perfectly flat on it, it could, you could not engage the trigger like so, which has happened in practice runs for me. Whereas I have not tried this, but I can actually already tell you that the trigger shoe, being a little bit further back, and the trigger safety there is a little bit more comfortable and easy to reach. I haven't had any instances in dry fire practice where I wasn't able to engage that trigger safety. So I think the Overwatch Precision Trigger may be a little bit better overall in terms of functionality, but in terms of feel on paper, I think this one feels better than the Overwatch Precision, but I think in practice, the Overwatch Precision Trigger may be a little bit better. The jury's out on that right now. I need to do a lot of shooting in order to find out, but they're both very good triggers. the Overwatch Precision trigger is cheaper than the Dynamic Performance Trigger kit. Not by much, but it's a little bit. And I think this actually looks a little bit cooler with my Cobra Commander themed colors going on with the brass magwell and blue and red grips. It's 2021, everyone, and I have a whole lot of content planned for the year. So please be sure to hit that little red button right there to like and subscribe so you can get notifications for all my new content coming out.